Right, ladies and gents, welcome to the workshop. So I'm going to call this a Saturday video when it's not, it's Wednesday. But TD5's in and I've got to do an oil service for it, so just thought I might as well bring you through it. So I've got my oil filter, well, stagging, fuel filter, normal oil filter, and then what they call a rotor, which is the spinny one. But I'll show you that in a bit. So I've warmed her up quite nicely now. She's quite warm. If you can hear that, it's just started raining. First rain I've had for a while. So yeah, first job for me is to take this cover off, which goes over the top of the engine bay. The reason for that is just to keep it a bit warmer in winter. If anybody's got a Defender, you all know exactly what I mean. I'm only doing like 7 miles and it takes 5 to get it warm. So, and I got my Senna brew, so keeps me warmer, keeps me a bit warmer. So yeah, so this went in for its MOT on Friday, last Friday when I was away. So I've been away for a weekend. It went in for its MOT and it's passed. It had a couple of little jobs I wanted done. Clean the brake lines up. I think that back bearing wanted tightening or something, and something else got done. So basically give it to the mechanic to sort out and says, look, just do it. By the time I buggered around unless it's something major, by the time I buggered around picking it up, bringing it back, going back, MOT, just it's easier for him to do it. And then at least it gives him a few quid as well for the time and effort he spent. So yeah, fairly simple to do on these. Plenty of room in there. Cover off, fill point, dipstick, nicely coordinated in colours and yellows so that you can see. And then all we need to do is go underneath and take the sump plug off, which was my first job. Now, if you were here last year, I had some right fun trying to get that filter off down there, which is behind the turbo. Yeah, turbo's still warm, I can touch it, but yeah, they're a pain in the arse then. And then the little rotor one's just there. So yeah, we'll get started. Right, so it's draining underneath. I've just come to the spinner, whatever you want to call it. They call it rotor filter. This is the one that, according to everybody else, saves the TD5 engines. So basically the oil comes in, it spins centrifugal, and basically the particles come out and the oil, clean oil is supposed to go back into the engine. This has got to be done. So 2 bolts, M11s. Well, this has got 2, I think. Some of the old ones had 3 bolts in them, but and this one has actually been replaced. One of the other side's got an original bolt in it, so it actually comes off with the cap, hopefully. So yeah, nice and clean in there, looking good. If it's getting real, if there's a lot of rubbish in it, you can clean it out. It's not a problem. And then this should just slide out, and that's actually a little bit warm. So yeah, this is the star of the attraction. And then looking good in there as well, fairly clean. What we like to see. So we'll take that one off. I've also undone this one. So I'm going to blame the last owner of this, of having this truck for putting it on too tight. I've done it this time and it's come loose, so all I need to do is get my hand around it and just keep turning it around until she pops off. But it's a real pain in the ass because that pipe, if I remember right, is a turbo oil. I think it's return to engine. And obviously you've got the turbo up here under the shield, which is really useful when you're trying to do an oil change and you've just warmed the engine up. So anyway, oil's nice and runny as well because she's actually quite warm. So we'll leave that to drip at the bottom for a bit longer, put the bung back in, and then we'll have that off, and then we'll put the new filters in. I don't tend to try and fill that filter that's in there because you just end up tipping it all over the place. So unfortunately for the old girl, she's going to have to have a couple of seconds of running without oil. But since I should be lubed up before, it should be fine. Shouldn't be any problems. Right, so definitely going better than last time. So yeah, spinner's back in, and I finally got the fuel filter back in again. I had to stop filming because I was in that bit you can't really see, but it's a real pig to try and get that filter over the top of that pipe and up. You just kind of have to, yeah. So anyway, that's back in again. A bit of oil, old oil around the seal to stop it sticking. Same with that in there with a ring. So there's that rubber ring that goes around the cap. Important to change that before it leaks. And then this can go over here into my big drum with the other one. So that can sit there and drain. That's going to be full of oil. I've got a lad who's going to take it. He's going to put it in his workshop. So that can go there for the oil, the new oil. Oh, I wish I had a big workshop sometimes. Otherwise, it could be on the floor. So yeah, I just need to. I can't do it when I just need to tighten that back up again. And then that's done. And then put the bung in underneath and start filling in there. Right, that's it. Oil poured in. 7.8 litres plus a bit more for the filters. So what I'll do now is I'll start it up. In fact, yeah, that's right, it's not leaking out the bottom, that's good. So right, we'll start her up and just make sure that everything's all right before we do the diesel. And all the covers are back in place. And just make sure nothing's going to be in the wrong place. That should be fine there. So, and yes, it is good practice not to leave your keys in the ignition like that. But hey, I'm in my own in the workshop, so. Beautiful. There we go, done. Turn the radio off. Ooh. Oh. So yeah, running quite well. So yeah, oil pressure will go off pretty quick. As I say, I wasn't worried about doing the filters. I'll fill it filters beforehand. What it is, you end up just spilling more oil all over the place. And because I had a good run with this truck before we poured in here, I wasn't worried. Everything had been lubed up, so the first 10 seconds, as long as you don't rev the nuts off it and really starve it for oil, it should be fine. So yeah, 193,500 miles on it. Don't pick up too bad. Right, that off. If you can hear in the background, you can hear the spinner. Don't know if you can hear that, but that's the rotor spinner slowing down again. They are supposed to be free spinning. So, right, so all that needs to do is go back on there, and then I just need a clip just to clip that end on. And that's done. Onto the fuel filter. Right, so next up is the fuel filter, which on TD5s is over the back wheel. If you remember at 300s, everything was under the bonnet, which is quite nice. But because the TD5 sends the fuel back into its tank, it does a bit of a weird system. It goes from the tank to the filter to the tank to be primed, to then push it up to the engine block, which is why there's 4 sets of pipes. Yeah, that's to do now. I don't have the guard around it. There's usually a wooden guard around that keeps it safe from dirt and rest of it, but I don't bother with it. So yeah, I've just had to use a pair of pliers because when I was having my problems with my injector seals, my mate changed the fuel filter for us, and like everybody, he tightened it too much. So when you do the filters, you either put a bit of oil around the outside for an oil filter or a bit of diesel around the outside for a diesel filter. Then all you need to do is nip it up. So basically turn it until the rubber touches wherever it's housed to, and literally give it half a turn. That's it. You don't need to keep tightening it and tightening it and tightening it and tightening it. So yeah, so I've undone that now. So that should hopefully come off quite nicely. The other problem with having all the muck on it is everything gets a bit dirty, but I've tried to wire brush it off and brushed it off to, yeah, again, very simple. Just undo it. And so you make a complete mess and waste nearly £2 worth of diesel. But it should just easily come off, like that. And then all we need to do is get the new one. And as I say, just put a bit of, use the old box. If I can do it one-handed, better. Just need to undo that. Put a bit of diesel around the outside, and then we can stick it on. Right, so just so it stops, and then a good half turn. That's it. That's all I'm going to put onto it. I just need to get that off really. At the bottom there is a drain bit, but I don't use it. It's just easier sticking it into a tub like that. So, right, because this has got an electrical fuel system on it, unlike the 200 and 300 TDIs, and I'm pretty sure the 2, 2 1/4 and series and all that all have little hand pumps like the old girl does. This you have to prime up with electronics. So if you turn the ignition on without starting it, then pump the accelerator 5 times, you get the key come on, or the engine management light come on. And what that's doing is, as you can hear, it's actually priming this for us. So you can hear the pump running. Probably hear the air running as well. So all that's doing is putting it through the circuit, priming it back up, and it should stop. I think there's about a 30-second run on it, and it does it a couple of times. But you can hear all the air going back out of it. So I never knew about this the first time. I was cranking the engine over trying to do it, and then I watched a YouTube video that happened to have it, that told us. Very handy. Clever little idea as well. So yeah, engine management light's still flickering around. So, but that's about it really for it. It's a fairly simple service, to be fair. Nothing complicated about it. And any mug can do it pretty much. So, right, we'll leave that to do its run through, and then we'll try firing it up. Right, so it's gone through each cycle. It's got the management lights gone off, so straight on. Yeah, that's good. So yeah, as I say, that cycle carries itself out and there's no problems with it. Really nice little system. You just leave it for a couple of minutes to sort itself out, blow the air bubbles out, and then you can see she runs. So that's it, all done. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.